All right. Surprise
Cosmos
inspection
again.
round 3.
Cosmos, I don't know how many more bathroom breaks I can take with this video, man.
Uh, we're gonna get through it. We're gonna get through it.
I
We're
feel
10
like
minutes in. 2 hours of recovering it in, but we're 10 minutes in.
just I felt getting that I was getting glared at the last time I got up and went to the bathroom.
Why? Wow.
It's like the third time I've done it during this prize inspection.
That's fine. They don't care if you take bathroom breaks, man.
I don't know. I just get a weird look though.
I think that's more in your head.
Maybe.
I think you're stressing out about it. All right. Well, round 3 of surprise inspection. Still covering this video that I remember once upon a time, 10 minutes ago of the video time, where I said, "Oh man, I really hope we actually get into really how there's not a whole lot of world building done in the economic system and talking about maybe different things in meta." Like, I was prepared to disagree with you and prepared to fight back because I don't see the consumerist message, but I was really hoping we were going to do it through the text, and we've kind of waded in, and then we're back out into the meta on they paid for this contract. All doing that while you're minimalizing the work and struggle that J.K. Rowling went through. But hopefully we get back to the in universe, and maybe we get through these next 30 minutes, in an hour. That'd be crazy.
I mean, maybe, but I mean, we should probably go more in universe. I mean, your takes in universe aren't great, but they're way better than your absolute dog shit takes when it comes to anything IRL.
Well, I mean, I don't even want to make a distinction between them because all their in universe takes are the reason they're dog shit is because they're so wildly influenced by their meta takes. So
That's a good point. Bad takes all around. There you go. I tried to throw you a little bone, but Cosmos here just snatched that right out.
snatch that bone right out of your fucking mouth. Not for you. All
All
right.
right. Let's see the next opinion. I think we're rolling it back just a little bit, that way so we can make sure to sync back up with where we got to.
Yeah. All right. You ready?
Yep.
Bang.
For the most part, to be a perfectly lovely addition to the world of children's literature. But 3 days after its UK publication, a bidding war went down in the US, and the rights were
Mm-hmm.
bought by Scholastic for $105,000. An incredibly, basically unprecedented amount of money for some little children's book. I don't know what drove up the price of that bidding war so much, but Hollywood studios were already approaching rolling at this time. I have a suspicion that Scholastic knew exactly what film studios would see in these books. Suddenly,
Uh, yeah. I mean,
Oh, nice. Cool source here.
well, I'm
Guardian.
the Guardian. Well, but I mean, yeah. This is the story of how it was bought. But okay, yes, it's this is kind of frustrating. Um, it's the job of the Scholastic company to try to find deals or try to find books that they think they're going to be able to make money off of. You had a sneaking suspicion that they were doing their job right and found a decently well written book that was going to bring in young fans and had marketability in different ways. Like,
Listen, dude. I think that BlackRock is searching for undervalued assets to purchase and then sell at a later date.
I do really like that this article was written. This article was written in July 1997, so it's really funny to see J.K. Rowling referred to as debut author and single mother. Just I don't know, it's kind of cool. Like a little bit of time capsule. It sounds like a film. A single mother traipses the rainy city streets, pushing her newborn baby in its pram. I cannot handle how fucking British people speak. With the baby asleep, she sits in cafes drinking coffee and scribbling a children's story. Cut to 3 years later, and the young mother has sold her finished story to a publisher for €100,000. 2 Hollywood studios are interested in the story, and she's just delivered her second book. Um,
Assume the same here. Look.
so it was considered unheard of by the Guardian at the time. So maybe that was like a crazy amount of money at the time. Look, Rowling is now being talked in the same in the same hushed tones as Nicholas Evans, who I've never fucking heard of, whose debut novel, The Horse Whisperer, was sold to Hollywood for €350,000 before it was finished, and I never fucking heard of that. Have you ever heard of The Horse Whisperer? The
No.
fuck is The Horse Whisperer?
Live Google search.
Came out in 1998. Had Robert Redford, Scarlett Johansson.
That's Black Widow, right?
Yeah, when teenage Grace Scarlett Johansson is traumatized by a riding accident that badly injures her horse, her mother Annie, a highly powered New York magazine editor, realizes Grace will only recover once the horse is healed. She takes them both to a secluded Montana ranch where I don't care. Okay. Huh.
Yeah,
All right.
I actually hear them.
In Harry Potter, the hero of the tale could assume the same near legendary status as Roald Dahl's Charlie of Chocolate Factory fame. Hey, that is accurate. I mean, that's true. I mean, yeah. How cool it is to... I actually really like this article, and I'll say this is a big boon to this video. Thank you for finding this article and like posting it here. What a cool little time capsule to read. At the time that they wrote this, they had no idea that this was going to completely rewrite and just impact Western culture in a way that hasn't been impacted probably since the Lord of the Rings. I mean, that would be an accurate thing to say here in this book, is that Harry is going to be mentioned in the same tones as Frodo. And just that idea in 1997 is fucking just absolutely crazy to people. Wow, this is a really cool article. I'll say that. And yeah, it seems that even in the time it was unheard of to pay that amount. But I think we can see why. This random Guardian author read it and was like, yeah, this is really good. This is probably going to be like a famous novel. Like, probably Charlie and the Chocolate Factory level. So really, really interesting. But this doesn't... All this tells me is she wrote a book that people could resonate with and liked and wanted to read more of, and she got successful because of that. It doesn't tell me any consumerist dystopia. Just that's a success story. A poor single mother worked hard and wrote a book and made millions.
But did people buy things?
People did buy things like her books.
Consumerist dystopia. There it is. Stamp it, clip it, ship it.
Rolling's face was all over the papers. The rags to riches story of a poor single mother on benefits writing her first novel in a cafe while her baby slept beside her. Like poor Harry himself, living under the stairs, only to suddenly find that he was owed a mountain of gold. This wasn't some niche little treasure being discovered by kid readers. This was big news. This was big publicity, literally within the first few weeks after publication. The American public put a lot of money into marketing, printing big, beautiful hardback editions, and something really not done when it came to kids' books.
Just hardbacks they go hard, by the way.
Okay, I'm not sure if that's necessarily true. Whenever you would have Scholastic buy, usually Scholastic did a Scholastic print or did a Scholastic edition. I don't know if that's true. That I would have to really double and triple check. And future James or future Trevor, you can do that for me. But Scholastic usually did some kind of Scholastic edition or did a hardback, or sometimes they even westernized certain words, like you see with Philosopher's Stone and Sorcerer's Stone. Like this wasn't unheard of to give it glossy new art, and yeah, it was picked up by a major publisher. These things happen. What a steal! They only had to pay $1 million for the rights to make the first 2 books. That's a steal.
Especially that can't be total production cost.
No way. You're underwater now.
There
we go. Yeah, you were underwater earlier. Now you're good. Hello?
Like right whenever I first started talking.
Yeah, and then when I told you, it sounded like you leaned up or something.
Oh yeah. No, I was gonna say was that no way that's referring to like the whole budget of the movie, right? It has to be just acquisition.
No.
Rights.
Yeah. That was just to purchase the rights.
What a fucking steal.
Yeah.
Truly became a franchise. Within the first 2 years, Rowling had become rich, and the legend of her wholesome success story had become canon.
Isn't it really interesting how she uses the word rich in like a
venomous
tone instead of
successful?
She's become successful, or she's got the recognition that she deserved for her hard work. Just so many other ways you could word that, but it has to use the really venomous tone for that.
Also, you say it's in just 2 years, but that's 2 years after being published. You're not counting the amount of time she spent writing it and trying to get it published through different publishers and turned down.
She did it in a cafe, so that doesn't matter.
But like. What's irritating is you're saying in just 2 years she'd become rich, but it's more like in just 5 or 6. Because how many years was she writing Philosopher's Stone while at a part-time job? Like, you're only starting the clock after she got published, which that's not fair. That's like being drafted.
Yeah, you're starting the clock after all of the time spent creating the thing is done. It's like all of the time before an artist creating the thing that they're selling, and then you're only counting it once it went up on auction, not counting any of the time of labor.
Well, I mean,
it's so unfair.
Well, I mean, my comparison would be, you take Michael Jordan, who's just been drafted, and you go, in just one day of playing basketball, Michael Jordan has made millions of dollars. And it's like, well, no. He played in high school and got turned down in his tryout, and then tried again, like 2 years, or the next year, and got on the team, and then worked really hard, and then went to college and worked really hard, and then he got drafted. And once he got drafted, yeah, basically his success story had begun, because you get a shit ton of money when you get drafted. Just like you get a shit ton of money when you get published. If a big name publisher like Scholastic or I forget who published Rick Riordan's books at first, but if one of those big name publishers pick you up, Penguin House, yeah. If Penguin or Scholastic pick up your book and they give you a contract for a series, you've made it as a writer. Every writer, the only thing they actually want is not to really make millions of dollars, but to make it to where every day they get up and they write, and that's their job. They don't have to go anywhere else and go work a job in order to pay their bills. Like their contract is allowing them to wake up, go get a coffee, and just write their novel. That's what every author actually wants. So yeah, when she got published for the first time, like it's unfair to start the clock then, because she was already on the major success trend. She got published. That's like the big hurdle.
Man. The fact that she made money means she contributed to the consumerist dystopia of our real world.
She should have just stayed a poor fucking waitress for the rest of her life.
She should have stayed a starving artist. She should have done it for free.
Well,
and donated all of her proceeds and not sold any merch.
Just why do I suspect that you would not have a problem with her being rich if she shared all of your opinions? If she had all the right opinions and all the right views, you would not have a problem with her being one of the... I mean, it's just so crazy that 10 years ago, people would have heralded her as like a feminist hero. This is a single mother who, in a very short amount of time after getting published, made a lot of money and gave a lot...
Yeah, in spite of the male-dominated field of writing, she manages to break through.
Yeah, like... just a little while ago, you would have called her like a feminist hero, because she's one of the richest women on the planet. And now it's like disgusting that she even has money, or I can't believe she even is allowed to eat because she has the wrong fucking opinion. It's just like, all right.
Yeah, but now we have Amaranth.
Yay.
In reality, she hadn't actually spent very long on benefits while writing Harry Potter. She came from a middle-class background, was university educated, and...
Who fucking cares? Hey, I came from a middle-class background, and I've been university educated. I'm still middle class, lower middle class. It would still be an insane success story if I released a novel out of nowhere, and it got picked up for $1 million. What is this? What, she didn't, she wasn't actually on benefits. She wasn't actually all that poor because she came from a dual-parent household and went to university. What the fuck are you on? Besides estrogen.
See, hey, listen here, Cosmos. Here's the thing. Just because J.K. Rowling... Here's the thing. She was a bit of a victim, but not as much as me. Not near as much as me. So she hasn't hit the threshold for me to see what happened to her as valid. It is invalid.
Well, it's just so funny.
You're how fucking retarded that is. Fuck.
You're cutting out a little bit.
I said that opinion's retarded.
No, I know. I could piece it together. When I say you cut out, you don't have to repeat what you said. I'm just letting you know your mic is fucked up. I'm able to translate bad internet. But I think it's really interesting that you frame her being rich in a very venomous way, and then when you highlight her poor background, you have to diminish it. Because, of course, being poor means you're morally good, and being rich means you're morally bad. We have to exaggerate how rich you are and diminish how poor you actually were, because we wouldn't actually want people to feel for you like a human. I couldn't just objectively report the facts of your life and let people feel as they may about it, because being rich or poor doesn't actually make you a good or bad person. It kind of depends on what you do. You know, it's kind of like the whole point of Harry Potter. It doesn't really matter what you are. It's the choices you make that defines who you are. You know, it doesn't matter if you come from a rich background or a poor background. It matters what you do. It's almost like you missed the entire fucking point of Harry Potter.
What a fucking surprise.
And had a lot of financial help from friends, including loans/gifts of thousands of pounds, and was awarded an £8,000 grant from the Scottish Arts Council to continue the book.
You are acting like getting a loan. It's some significance of success. You have to pay it back.
Also, do you know why you get grants? You get grants according to your financial need, which means she used the resources that you're someone who advocates for communism, or where you said in the perfect world they'd be post scarcity and no one would need to, everyone would be no wealthier than the other. Do you understand that she was using state-sponsored programs to help people with lower income in order to support her artistic dream? How is that not the communist fucking utopia to you? She was able to use money that was paid for through taxpayers in order to get money to support her lifestyle so she could create art. How is that not, by definition, what you guys want?
I also like how they specifically say loans and grants and not scholarships. So like literally stuff given based on the merit of their wealth disparity.
Before the first one was even published.
Okay.
The page she wrote in was part owned by her brother-in-law.
A journalist actually said to me the other day, "So you wrote your whole first novel on napkins, paper napkins, because you couldn't afford the paper." Yeah, which is really going it a bit even for me. No, I did not write on napkins.
But at the end of the day, we just love a good story, so who cares? And that story was only the beginning.
Oh, yeah, Okay, I mean, I didn't see that 60 Minutes interview, but yeah, I mean, certain things have been mythicized, but I really don't give a fuck. She was in a cafe writing that was owned by her brother-in-law. That doesn't mean anything to me. What the fuck? What is the point of this? Well, I don't understand, you picking apart different details of her origin story and say, well, she wasn't actually that poor, and actually the cafe she was in was her brother-in-law, and she didn't actually write on napkins. She was still a single mother who wrote a book during her, in between her shifts while getting loans and getting grants to get by, and then it all paid off because she released her book and someone noticed. Why does it seem like you're boiling with jealousy right now?
I mean, the thing for me, whenever I heard the writing on napkins, I never took that super literally. I just presumed she had a little pocketbook.
Yeah, but
because
how would you write on? I never took that as super literal either. But the whole concept was supposed to be she wasn't. She
was scrawling notes in between the time where she was working.
Yeah, well, she didn't have her personal computer. She didn't have a laptop. She was writing it on.
Yeah, I said she didn't have a whole lot of money, yeah.
Yeah.
The hype helped Harry Potter become a cultural icon. This was
Look, I'm gonna be honest. That wasn't people hearing she wrote this on napkins in a cafe at part-time to get it. No one heard that and was like, "Oh, I'm gonna read this fantasy magic story now." That wasn't the selling point. People read the first book and were like, "Oh, this is pretty good. I'm gonna read the next one." And they probably told their friends, "Hey, this is a really cool series about Harry Potter."
Hey, you know how I came to read Harry Potter? I saw the cover of it in the Scholastic Book Fair, and I said, "That looks fucking cool. I want to read it."
The way I learned about it was my older siblings were already into it because they were the same age as Harry Potter when the book came. So my sister was the same age as she was 11 when the first book came out, and my brother turned 11 when the first movie came out. So my sister kind of grew up with Harry through the books, and my brother grew up with Harry through the movies. And so they both passed down that passion to me because it was Harry Potter, Dragon Ball Z, and Yu-Gi-Oh! Those were my inherited passions. So yeah, Harry Potter was spread in our household through the kids that were of the age to be into it, telling other people about it and how good and how fun it was.
I wasn't at the Scholastic Book Fair, and then the woman didn't come up to me and go, "Listen here, little boy. This book right here was written by a poor woman in a cafe, scrawling on parchment discarded by the upper class, being spat on while she held her child with leprosy." I didn't have to be fucking sold on it.
Yeah, and I think it's weird to credit her success or the fact that she had a good origin story. What is all that shit behind you then? Clearly you liked it. Clearly, you read the books and you were like, "This is something I would like to dedicate most of my life to." Where did you get all this fucking merch?
She stole it.
Happening in the late 90s, at the beginning of a new fantasy craze. At the same time as Rowling's books were coming out, production had already begun on the Lord of the Rings films. These Dark Materials books had started in 1995. The world was hungry for fantasy stories, and Harry Potter would make for a way better franchise than either of those other guys. It was also...
Whoa, when you say either of those other guys, you're also including Lord of the Rings in that, and that's actually just objectively wrong. In terms of money-making and long-lasting legacy, Lord of the Rings has beaten Harry Potter out in both. Harry Potter's...
Quality of the movies, quality of writing in the books.
Well, yeah, but we don't even have to talk about that, because she's just talking about commercial success. Lord of the Rings made more money.
Yeah.
If we're talking about merch, book sales, and I mean, Lord of the Rings has existed since the 1950s, but we're fucking comparing them now. Lord of the Rings right now with Rings of Power. Okay, there are properties that the Lord of the Rings community hates that has been purchased and sold for more money than Harry Potter was. That's Rings of Power, which was like sold for $100 billion or like $1 billion or something like that, or the rights were sold to Amazon for $1 billion, and then it cost them like $100 million to make the show. So like, people still care about Lord of the Rings nearly 100 years later, and it's making way more money. So it's not a better franchise than either of those. Northern Lights, sure, never fucking heard of that, but. And it's weird to say, like, the world was just ready for fantasy. Yeah, we go through different trends and genres of what we like. Give it, like, 5 years or 10 years, we'll start going through the YA dystopia phase, where it's Hunger Games and fucking Divergent and Maze Runner and all that shit. Like, yeah, we go through different genres, just like in music, where we go from rock and roll to country, or really country to rock and roll to rock to hair metal. You know, we see a progression. What she exploited people by writing the genre that people were hungry for. It could be that she was also interested in that genre for the same reasons, because culture was kind of gearing around fantasy at that time, so she wrote a story about that. This is so weird.
Yeah, it's so strange because like it feels like at every turn you are taking the most bad faith interpretation of any situation when it can come to J.K. Rowling.
Well, it's funny. She hates J.K. Rowling, but they have a higher opinion of J.K. Rowling than I do. Because J.K. Rowling made an okay story. You know, it was alright. It has some issues here, but the world building is pretty fun, and the characters are relatable enough that kids can really fall into that world for 7 years and be content.
The kids aren't going to look into all, like, the further inline plot errors and stuff.
And some people never grow out of it. That becomes their whole world, and that's a testament to how enriching the story can be for some people. Some people are fully content with that being their story for the, you know, there's even the meme of, I'm begging people to read a book besides Harry Potter. So I think that, you know, she wrote an okay story that had a wide impact, and that's good for her. Her version of J.K. Rowling is like this Machiavellian genius that understands economics and fictional literature trends on such a level that she crafts like an evil spell. She's crafting the perfect book that will hit the culture right at the right time. And I put so much marketing and so much different things in there that people can buy in 16 years when Ollivanders opens in Disney World in 2014. And she's planning like 20 years ahead, like she's fucking Sauron. Like, perfectly getting this book to release with all these different mechanics to perfectly take advantage of the working class and make as much money. And it's like,
she's got that Toto Aoi 250,000 IQ points.
Yeah, like, you hate J.K. Rowling, yet you are attributing so much to malevolence rather than ignorance that you've made J.K. Rowling the smartest human on the planet. Like, why the fuck was J.K. Rowling not investing in stocks in 1997? She should have just invested in Bitcoin. You wouldn't even know who she was, and she'd be richer.
Why did J.K. Rowling even say all the anti-trans stuff she knew it was going to take off like it would?
Yeah, like, if she's so good at predicting trends to the point where she can plan a book to purposely, like, take advantage of the trends and piggyback off of the working class, then she should have just not talked about politics. And you would think with all that genius writing, she would remember that Salazar Slytherin can't really leave the Chamber of Secrets in bathrooms that haven't been made yet because people are still shitting themselves at Hogwarts.
Yeah, you would think, huh?
To the
But
door.
no, that was all planned.
The internet was becoming an everyday household experience at the same time as Harry Potter, where fandoms such as Star Trek and Lord of the Rings had to grow for the most part without the internet. Harry Potter's fandom was born into it. Fandom
That's fair.
creates appeal for a franchise
Okay.
which no corporation could provide on its own, and this fandom was visible. Because in those days, there were no ebooks. When a book was published, you couldn't download it straight to your Kindle or phone. If you wanted to get the new Harry Potter book,
You had to go and get it.
then you were going to an event. The midnight release
Yeah.
bookstores.
This was cool. I think more books should do this. More stories should do this. Unfortunately, we're at the age where it would never happen again because people would just order it online. But yes, this was a cool. I mean, I remember the famous YouTube video of guys going down the midnight release with spoilers from the book that they were getting.
Dude, that was my favorite videos.
Now, I honestly think those two people are fucked up human beings for doing that to people because these are people that deeply care and are waiting to get the book. Why spoil it for them? But also, it's funny.
Those guys are based and cool.
But they were. This is cool. This is fine. I remember. This is similar to Star Wars opening night at movie theaters, or
Creating a blockbuster, yeah.
yeah, or Marvel movies like Infinity War and Endgame were fucking spectacles. So
Dude, or having to go to GameStop and actually having to stop in for the midnight release of a game coming out, dude.
yeah, like Halo 2's midnight release was huge. People were camped out for weeks. So this is weird, but yeah.
Community events and were widely publicized as a wild phenomenon of children suddenly
Hey,
desperate.
look how happy those people are,
Just
dude.
look at all those literature fans ready to buy officially licensed custom Hogwarts robes. But the hype wasn't quite as organic as it might have seemed. Warner Brothers' parent company, AOL Time Warner, was a massive media company, and they were everywhere.
Okay.
At the time, they served half of American internet subscribers and put Harry Potter
Okay.
content all over their sites. They owned a ton of magazines like People, Time, Entertainment Weekly, which all promoted the film. It was
Okay. This is just marketing. This is called marketing.
Why are you trying to... Just call it marketing. Why are you trying to portray it as some sort of evil
Conspiracy.
arcane-
Yeah, like the Jews are the ones that pushed Harry Potter forward, and that the Rothschilds are why fucking Harry Potter's successful.
Well, you better calm down. You figured it out.
But just like it's just so dumb. Yeah, Lord of the Rings was also promoted similarly because it was owned by Warner Brothers, or not Warner Brothers. Fucking oh god, I'm gonna look like an
20th
idiot.
century?
No, oh my
No,
god. I'll just look it up. As soon as I say it, I'm gonna feel dumb.
Yeah, same.
Uh,
Lionsgate?
Yeah, Lionsgate. It was Lionsgate. I'm just making sure.
Hey.
No, distributed by New Line Cinema. That's what it was. New Line Cinema.
I was close.
Yeah. New Line Cinema and other established people did the exact same thing. Like I said, Lord of the Rings. I know that movie hasn't come out in a while, but if we're just gonna talk about marketability and long-lasting effects in the culture. The Magic the Gathering most expensive card ever, bought by a rapper, called the One Ring. I don't know. This is exhausting as a video.
system, which served about 20% of American homes. They had a product to sell, and you were going to see it whether you liked it or not. Their leadership publicly.
No, you weren't going to see it whether you liked it or not, because if you didn't want to see it, you didn't. I actually remember the craze of moms forbidding their kids from reading or watching Harry Potter because they thought it was promoting witchcraft and they thought it was promoting, Satan worship. So no, this idea of they're forcing it down your throat. You had no choice but to be interested in it. It's no, plenty of people weren't interested in it. I know plenty of people that have still to this day never read Harry Potter or watched the movies, and they're my age.
Cue the clip of scrolling past an ad.
Yeah.
Publicly admitted that they could not have profited from Harry Potter as well as they did without this network of promotion provided by their media empire.
Yeah, they probably literally admitted to not being able to profit as much if their market campaign wasn't as big. Welcome to marketing.
What the fuck is a statement? I would have less money if I worked less hours at my job.
Less
dumbass.
Less people would know about my product. Less people will buy my product if less people know about my product.
Hey, you know what? I think we're being a bit too harsh. This person is a communist. They're not good at math.
That's right.
Powerful people in boardrooms were carefully planning exactly how to casually convince us to buy their product.
Like you literally made the. We were joking, but you have now literally made the men smoking cigars in boardrooms are the reason why you were interested in Harry Potter. You are brain rot. Like you're fucked.
You are so fucking stupid.
You're fucked.
They pay a marketing team. What the fuck are you talking about?
They didn't sit in a boardroom thinking how to casually get us to watch it. They paid a marketing team a set amount of money and said spend that money on getting people to know about Harry Potter and buying tickets. This wasn't a Machiavellian fucking conspiracy theory. Your brain is fucked. Like, this is how you view storytelling, and this is how you view, like, it's all this evil conspiracy. Again, I doubt you would have this viewpoint of this evil conspiracy theory marketing team if J.K. Rowling was just super cool with all of your political opinions. But because she's not, this is now this evil, conspiratorial, in the back rooms, like, subversive, that, it's...
I hate these people with this kind of brain rot, dude, because it's
so exhausting.
Really, they view themselves like they're some kind of Marvel hero, and they're like, and I'm figuring out the evil conspiracy. It's like, nah, bro, you're just drooling on yourself because you're fucking dumb.
Well, yeah, I'm figuring out the evil conspiracy, and it's like, well, no, actually, you're just figuring out how most of the world operates. Like, I understand that you're freaking out about Warner Brothers doing this. Dude, just wait until you look at what Disney does when they market. Did you know that when Disney markets things, well, I hate to even say it, but, well, since Disney owns so many companies, since a parent company of so many things, well, Disney might have more advertisers on those platforms than other people. You know, YouTube is kind of owned a little bit by Disney. You know, it has partial ownership, just like Google. And
but Disney's okay because they made Ahsoka trans.
Well, or you know, it's real interesting that, you know, did you know that Google products like the Google Pixel and the Google phone? Did you know that yeah, they get way more advertising on YouTube than iPhones. In fact, when's the last time you've seen an iPhone ad on YouTube?
Right.
It's almost like when you own the platform that can distribute the ads, you get to decide what ads get distributed, and by that same lens, you get to kind of affect what a lot of people are hearing about. Now, here's the problem. Everybody fucking knows about iPhone. Everyone knows when iPhone releases the new model. That's why it doesn't really matter that no one's advertising on YouTube for iPhone. Google, like, this is the different... Like, iPhone makes up for it in name recognition, but yeah, this isn't a conspiracy theory. When a company owns a platform that they know a lot of eyeballs are on, they're going to advertise their own products or related products on that platform. This isn't... Why is this confusing to you? Why is this like conspiracy theory, not like 9/11 shit for you?
I mean, but this is way less thought out than any 9/11. I listen to conspiracy theories all the time. This is not even well thought out. There's just not understanding
how marketing works. Yeah.
What a job is.
Well, they are communists, though.
Spend on promotion is vital to the success of a product. It's not gonna work if the product itself isn't good. And
Okay, we finally got there. That the product is decent. I mean, I wouldn't even go as far to say the product is like super great or one of the most well-written things ever, but Harry Potter as a product was good, and people bought it and liked it and still like it. I might have some issues with the world building and some of the characters and some of the plot, but yeah, I still like Harry Potter. So, thank you for finally getting there.
I mean, I just blatantly disagree with that. I mean, if your marketing's good enough, even if you're selling a below standard product, people will buy it just because they see the ad recognition.
But it's not going to be as... I think we'd both be able to recognize that if you have the same ad campaign, one advertising for a product that's less than average, one advertising for a product that's more than better than average, then one marketing campaign is going to be more successful than the other. Because
I mean, yeah, but I don't think that's what she's trying to argue, though.
Well, I mean, I think what they're saying is that there's there's only so much you can do for a bad product with a marketing campaign. But if a marketing campaign is around a good product, it'll simply enhance it, and then you'll get to word of mouth.
Okay, that makes more sense. Okay, we can continue then.
Harry Potter was, in many ways, perfect.
It's really funny how it felt like biting. Like you could feel how badly they didn't want to admit it was good, or they even had to give it a caveat of in many ways. And we're 30. We're not even 30 minutes. We're 15 minutes into the video, and this is the first compliment the series has gotten. That isn't in a subversive. Well, it's very good. It's very good marketing. It's very good consumerism. No, the first time you've actually said Harry Potter as a product is in many ways perfect. I wonder what you mean by those many ways.
I mean, also whenever they're saying it, they have to do the 1,000-yard stare.
Yeah, but I'm wondering if this is just a veiled insult, because I wonder if the in many ways it's perfect are going to be very negative things.
Well, she's gonna look at the camera and then go, "Where is it?" And then you're gonna have the Vsauce music.
Or at least its timing was.
You just can't. You can't admit it's good. You just hate that you can't admit that it was. Why do you have all this merch behind you if you don't think it's a good story? You're so boring, man.
I told you, didn't I? How many times? Put it on the board.
Let's keep going.
Parents were a big part of how toys were chosen. Ads would target the relationship between the parent and child, convince them that actually their toys were good for your kid and good for your bond with your kid. But television changed.
Those ads are cool.
Toy makers began advertising directly to children, cutting out the parental middleman. One of the things that makes TV so great for advertisers is that your audience includes little kids, those far too young to read, and it does so in the comfort and safety of their living room. Kids become invested in a show and they trust it. The Mickey Mouse Club was their friends. Of course they want to buy some Mickey ears after watching. Parents are irrelevant to that interaction, except for their wallets. Advertising your product.
Yeah, I mean that's a big part though, because you can't fucking buy the product without the parents. So they have parents aren't irrelevant. So there's a reason they're not advertising fucking. First of all, because the society was different, but they're not advertising Mickey Mouse butt plugs, because it'd be very hard to convince a parent to buy a butt plug for their kid, or you would hope it would be. So you still have to make these family friendly, recognizable to what your kids are watching, related and relevant, I guess, to the product, and something that the kid would like, something that you're willing to spend money on because the kid will be entertained with it for a while. These are all things that people who are making products are aware of, because where the fuck are these kids getting their money from? I mean, you're maybe accounting for some kids with allowances, but even then, what kids are able to go spend their allowance unsupervised? I mean, like, this is dumb. Just to say, because we're no longer making the relationship between parents and kids playing with the toy the focus of the ad, that parents are now not thought of. You just don't understand how marketing works. Again,
which I mean, also we could point to the myriad of products that still use the whole parental element and the family element to still sell the products, i.e., most board games, super soakers, any sort of like water sports thing,
any video game console,
really anything that requires a participation from other people, they will most likely put it out towards showing the parents, because it gives the parents a chance to be able to bond with the kids. Like the deliberate example you're pulling from right now is just brand recognition products via an IP, but you're not going to talk about Disney, even though you just brought up them as a good example. You're just going to solely focus on Harry Potter with this.
The Mickey Mouse Club was also incredibly profitable. But like that advertising campaign, you got yourself a hit.
Yes.
Parents cannot resist the pull of their children's wishes, and children get their wishes from TV advertisements.
I really love that you just get this one random quote from this fucking guy I don't know, but parents can and should resist the pull of their children's wishes because children don't have full grasp on reality and they wish for things that sometimes aren't possible or aren't good for them. You know, kids might wish that every meal is candy and cake. Parents deny and resist that pull because they understand what's better for their children. Like, this idea that parents are just hapless victims that are going to do whatever their kids say and the kids are going to do whatever the TV advertisements say, and so parents have no say. It's almost like you're relinquishing culpability from the parents, that they're not responsible for what their kids do, or they're not responsible for what they get their kids, that we're all just being manipulated and brainwashed. It's so funny how you have such a cynical view of the marketing campaign, but almost a sympathetic or hands off, like, oh well, what are they gonna do? They're these poor parents and kids. They're just being like, you're so lenient and sympathetic toward them when we should be hard on parents that don't care about their children and aren't watching what their parents, what their children consume.
I mean, I also find it interesting that she's pulling a quote from Gary Cross, and most notable for consistently talking about the childification of adult men.
I don't know who Gary Cross is, so.
Good. A person who just has an overtly negative opinion of like toys and that kind of stuff whenever it comes to like it being in proximity to the to like parents and children.
Well, yeah, I mean, I think this is just wrong, but we'll just continue.
But parents started to catch on to this exploitation of their kids who couldn't really tell the difference between an ad and their favorite educational show. The 70s would be a landmine of social anxieties about advertising to children and regulation of it. Parents wanted to protect their kids, and fair enough.
So parents can resist the pull of their children's wishes to the point of changing what programming their kids like because they're worried about the advertisement. Cool. So Gary Cross was just wrong, and you also believe him to be wrong. You just don't know you believe him to be wrong because you don't connect your thoughts. You just do them one after another. Like,
With the next big toy hit, we wouldn't have to worry about advertising to kids to get them to buy their toys. But it started in a galaxy far, far away. Star Wars toys blew up with the release of the film, creating a new precedent for the toy industry. You didn't want just a...
okay, let's talk about this. So yeah, Star Wars, I mean, first of all, in its origin, A New Hope, George Lucas had no idea it was going to be successful. He was a genius in the fact that he made a really good deal with the producers about the merchandising rights. Like, he kept a significant amount of the merchandising rights. So when they made toys and shit, that's actually where George Lucas made his fortune, by the way. You know, a decent amount from just Star Wars rights, but most of it from the merchandising and the toy rights. Yeah, I mean, after a certain point, Star Wars became, as well as really well made stories. They were commercials for the toys. You know how this isn't exploitative and why this point is just ridiculous? Parents went to go see Star Wars with their kids. This wasn't a kid-only thing. This is why this was a blockbuster. This is why people say frequently Star Wars is for everybody. Because yes, little kids will love Star Wars. I've also seen people as old as 80 in a movie theater watching Star Wars. Everyone loves it. It's for everyone. So parents could go to the movie theater with their kids, see this, and both of them come out super fans. Both of them buy Lego sets to build together. Both of them buy X-Wings and different... This wasn't exploitative because an adult could go to these movies and come away with enjoyment and want to buy the products. So...
To which a majority did.
Yeah. This is just... I mean, I was shown Star Wars by my parents. I didn't have... This wasn't thrown on TV for me and my brain just fucking melted as soon as the lights... My parents were like, hey, this is really fun and really cool. You should watch this. And then I watched it and I was like, cool light sword. I want a light sword. And they were like, it's a lightsaber. And I was like, shut up. It's a laser sword, bitch. And like, we'd have Star Wars lock-ins at my church. Okay? Like, it was never a point where... I'm getting irritated.
product to advertise, you needed a craze, a fad, something huge and popular that everyone...
See, this is what irritates me about this video. You're like mixing, because it's been so long, you're trying to mix up the timeline and make this more conspiratorial and malicious than it really is. You think that they were sitting in a boardroom going, how do we get children to buy toys So let's make a Star Wars movie, which if you knew the history of Star Wars, you would just fundamentally understand that's not true because no one believed in Star Wars, much less companies that were going to sit around and start planning toy campaigns around this fucking ridiculous movie. Like, all the actors on set, including George Lucas, just assumed this movie was going to bomb because it just was goofy and wacky, and there was space princesses and space dogs in suits and midgets in trash cans pretending to be robots. Like, this was obviously not going to go anywhere, except it blew up and it became a fucking blockbuster, and then people reacted. This is what you don't know, and this is why you probably shouldn't talk out the one side of your mouth without your brain fucking working. There was actually a whole fiasco with Star Wars toys. A lot of people don't know this. When Star Wars was first released, you this is actually really funny. When you wanted to buy merch, you had to buy like a mailing list. Like, you had to get a mailing list that you went and you sent money in, and then they would send the toy out. They got so many orders that they couldn't keep up with production, and it was getting close to Christmas, and parents were like worried that their kids weren't going to get their Star Wars toys in time for Christmas. So what Lucasfilm did is they sent out little cardboard cutouts of these toys, and they were meant to be like placeholders. Like, hey, we're getting you your toy. Here's something for your kid to look at and play with while we're still working on it because we have so many back orders. Those little cardboard cutouts are worth like tens of thousands of dollars now because they're not official toys. They were just things sent out to, hold people's interest. So your whole idea of this being like a Machiavellian conspiracy to sell toys actually falls apart when you understand the history, because you would think if this whole plan was to sell toys, they would have that all lined up in order to maximize the amount of toys they can sell and thereby maximize their money. But they were so underprepared for the amount of demand because they didn't know there was going to be that level of demand. So you just fundamentally don't understand how these things came about. But because you have a worldview that you need to reinforce, you rewrite or fill in information to make your worldview more correct. Because you're not actually viewing this from an objective point of view of, does this conform with my reality or my understanding? It's just, how do I make it fit? And this is why you get these subpar arguments or ill-formed thoughts. I mean, this doesn't even feel like a connective, cohesive narrative that you're telling through a 30-minute video. This just feels like shitty argument after shitty argument after shitty argument because you don't know how to connect these and you don't know how to formulate it. And that's why it's just fucking exhausting as a video. This is one of the longest videos I've ever watched, regardless of time code. This 40 minutes might as well be a fucking eternity.
It's a 10-hour video.
Also, welcome back.
I've just been letting you rant, dude. Get her.
I was talking about. You wanted a whole world of content which you could turn into collection toys, and that you own the intellectual property. Kids don't care about brand loyalty. You're never going to get them invested in Mattel or Hasbro.
No shit.
Skywalker's funny friend. Give me one of those guys for sure. And Star Wars was super toyetic.
What?
I mean,
Why are you making that like it's a point?
There are plenty of kids who will always talk about I love my Transformers. I love my He-Man. I love my G.I. Joes. That they get attached to the IP itself.
Well,
they don't get tied to the corporation because they don't know about it.
Yeah, I was like 9 years old before I conceptualized that the voice actors existed. I was like, wait, what do you mean there's just a guy from New York voicing Goku? Like, what do you mean? No. Goku's Goku. Goku's voiced by Goku. And when someone had to sit down and explain to me, like, no, they're voice actors. Like, look, there's Sean Skimmel. There's Christopher Sabat. At one point, my brain had to formulate the idea that these were just characters and that a different person I didn't know was talking through that character and making him say things. And I had to realize this wasn't... I always understood that it wasn't real, but for the first time, it's like... I put it together, this wasn't a simulation, or this wasn't like just a thing that happened. Like, someone had to create this. This is like the same thing. This is just... Kids don't formulate the brand. Of course not, because their brain isn't working on that level. They're not thinking about this as a product that's being sold to them. They're thinking at it as a fun TV show that they watch. You know, I'm not thinking about Cartoon Network when I watch Fairly Odd Parents as a kid. I'm just like, oh, Timmy, cool, fuck yeah. That's all I'm... This feels so weird.
To say that films very easily translate to merchandise. The design of items seen in the films and the funky-looking characters lend themselves perfectly to toys. Buy action figures, buy your own lightsaber. It's perfect. And the toy line was an unbelievable success.
After the first movie, where they had to actually get things into proper order and get it to where it was a functional supply line, yeah. But you're not going to mention that because that doesn't line up with your narrative of this all being corporative manipulation of your brain to get you to buy toys that you like.
That is where He-Man and the Masters of the Universe toy line came in to compete with the widely successful Star Wars toys. But children didn't really understand the context of these He-Man toys. Who was He-Man? Who were the good guys? Who were the villains? Thankfully, the 80s were much more forgiving.
What? No.
What? What do you mean, who are the heroes, who are the villains? You have a skeleton man.
They obviously would know that He-Man is the hero and that the fucking purple skeleton man is the evil guy. What?
If there's one thing you can't accuse He-Man of, it's being, like, ambiguous or subtle with their, like, hero or villain. Like, the villain looks like a buff skeleton in wizard robes, dude. The hero is, like, in a fucking onesie with a giant sword. What are you talking about?
Like, even universal, like, character concepts, He-Man is, like, at least aesthetically not evil looking. The man with the skull face
Oh my god.
is gonna be fucking evil.
When it came to the rights of TV networks to exploit children. So the toy industry won out against regulation, allowing advertisers to target kids as much as they liked. Which is why the 80s had such an incredible boom of Saturday morning cartoons, all based on toy lines. Cartoons like He-Man and My Little Pony and the Rubik's Cube cartoon and the Pac-Man cartoon were elaborate ads targeting children who didn't know the difference between...
Why would you say the Pac-Man thing is deliberately targeting children whenever the people who would have been playing the Pac-Man are obviously young adults who would not be watching the Saturday morning cartoon of fucking Pac-Man. They were just continuing the brand that was already in the arcades.
Oh, I mean, again, also, so what? I mean, this is so weird to me. Like, yes, games were made about... so this might be a crazy concept, but games were made based off of cartoons so that when these kids went to the arcade, they saw arcades that were reminiscent of the cartoons they liked. This isn't uncommon. This is how... I don't know. This is how sales are done. This is how marketing's done. And again, the only reason that you are framing this as a bad thing is because you're framing this as exploiting children, where the exploitation is entertaining them, and if they are interested in this, maybe asking their parents to get them a present if they're good, or for a birthday or a Christmas present. Like, they're really being exploited here, because you know what is really funny? I wonder how many of these cartoons are failures that no kids really liked watching, and no toys really sold that well because it wasn't written very well or wasn't drawn very well. Standards weren't... kids have incredibly low standards, but even those kids will go, I don't want to watch this, and turn on something else, and it's hard to predict what'll work. We're entertaining kids, and then they manifest an interest, and then we sell according to that interest. And you know what? We still do it today. Whenever you see... right now, I read Harry Potter as a kid. When you showed some of those Harry Potter things, I was like, ooh, I want that. No one had to... Like, are you now manipulating me? Are you now taking advantage of me or exploiting me because you showed me a thing where I was clicking on this to be entertained and educated, but now you're marketing to me, and I can't tell the difference between just an advertisement for Harry Potter products or your actual video. Are you exploiting me now if I go buy one of those things that you showed in your video because I didn't know it existed until you showed it? Or is it just I happen to click on this video because I'm interested in tangential subjects and I'm interested in Harry Potter, so I clicked on the video, I watched it. During the course of watching that video, I found something that interested me, and I wanted to go spend money on it. Do you see where I'm getting at now? Where it doesn't have to be... Even if it was intentional, it wouldn't be a bad thing, and it most of the time probably isn't intentional.
An ad and actual content, and their parents behind the
parents can kind of go fuck themselves, except for the part where they have to buy the toys. So we couldn't really tell them to go fuck themselves that hard, because then they might not buy the toys.
What? No way.
Get those kids invested in a narrative. You're connected to a fab. Today, many of those 30-minute ads are nostalgic to adults with kids of their own now. So we get new shows based on the same product. Sometimes even major Hollywood blockbuster films to share with your young children. What are you talking about? Transformers isn't a 2-hour-long ad that you pay to see. Michael Bay is an artist. Back in the day, toys were very strictly gendered. Sold to
I mean, you picked on the low-hanging fruit with Michael Bay not making, like, high art or film, but I never bought it. I never felt compelled to buy a Transformers toy after watching the Transformers movies. And maybe that's because I was too old by the time they came out. But could I see a kid want a cool-looking Camaro or a cool Optimus Prime truck after seeing the movie? Yeah. Is there something wrong with that? No.
I mean, I still struggle with the concept that advertising is somehow exploitative.
Well, yeah. I mean, surely we'd be arguing on false advertisement or misleading advertisement or advertisement for something that we don't think is good for most of society to consume. You know, we wouldn't want to see an advertisement for black tar heroin, of course, because we don't want more people to know about it and do it. But these are toys. These are just things for kids to play with. Remember how we said Harry Potter didn't have a fucking toy to play with and he was just combing through buttons? You know, it's just like one of those things that kids want to do things to occupy their mind. They want to create their own little narratives, their own stories. And yeah, this is just another avenue for that. Kids like to play with toys. What is the problem? I don't understand. Like, it's... We don't have... I think you having a problem with advertisement as a whole is just weird and wrong. I don't know how to explain to you that simply spending money to let more people know about your product, that itself is not immoral. That's a byproduct of living in a...
they can have the option to buy it if they want to.
This is... Or could it be that boys and girls manifested different in different interests? You know, here's the thing. I have a couple nieces. I've never had to tell them about Barbie or about a doll for them to see one and want one. I never had to tell a boy what a dump truck was for them to see a car with wheels on it that moved and then go, oh, cool. Like, you can put these toys in front of infants and see them gravitate toward them. It's not to teach them how to be good mothers. It's that boys and girls generally manifest different interests at young ages. And you might not like that because of your own viewpoint, but I can probably predict with unerring accuracy what you played with at 1 year old, since you're a biological man. I can probably predict what you played with. It probably wasn't Barbie dolls at 1 year old. Probably wasn't. And if it was... You probably did what every boy did, which is probably you like ripped her head off or you took her dress off. Like you probably did the natural boy things. And it's not because I know you that well as a person, it's because you're a boy. That's all. Boys and girls just manifest different interests at a very young age.
As the times changed and cultural values changed, these gender roles became dated for many. This puts actors in a difficult position. How do you appeal to the masses who clearly still subscribe to some gender roles? Well,
you don't give a fuck about offending people, because people who are getting offended at gendered toys probably aren't spending money on toys anyway, because they probably don't have kids of their own, first of all, and they're too old to be playing with toys anyway. So here's the thing. If a grown adult person is getting offended because you have a girl doll in the girl section, don't fucking worry about their opinion. They don't work in marketing. They don't understand how children work, apparently. And they're not going to spend the money on the toy anyway. They're just looking for something to bitch about because they need to feel special.
True.
The answer to that is abstraction. Girls aren't playing with baby dolls now. They're playing with Care Bears, who are just bears who care a lot.
Yeah, because children are fucking idiots and have no idea when something is more feminine than... Yeah, teddy bears with hearts and rainbows on them. I wonder if girls or boys are more likely to like those. Care Bears weren't made to get away from people's offense. Care Bears are very gendered on their own, too. They were made in the same era. Look at how dated this commercial is. People weren't fucking talking about gender roles at this time. And if they were, it certainly wasn't mainstream to the point that we were affecting our marketing by then. No, Care Bears have always been more for girls than boys. I mean, you see a fucking teddy bear with a heart or a rainbow on it, and no self-respecting boy that plays with Dragon Ball Z and Power Rangers is going to go near that. How am I even going to fight that? Goku can't fight that shit. It's too soft. He's going to punch it. It's going to sink into his tummy. I've got to come up with a whole new fight mechanic now. Fuck out of here. I'm going to use G.I. Joe and Snake Cobra, and they're going to jump Goku, and then Goku's going to go Super Saiyan and kill them both. And this is not hard for me. Bro, come on. They're colored little horses. Of course, this is an abstraction. This is clearly for girls. The guys who are into My Little Pony are called bronies, and they're weird. And there's a reason we don't just call them My Little Pony fans. We single them out and make them feel weird because they are weird. If you're a brony watching this, lightning crack. No, just like, if you're a brony watching this, I'm going to pause and I'm going to let the lightning crack. I'm going to let you know what I feel. Yeah. You know what I'm about. You should now.
Looks at them.
You should now. But yeah, this is an abstraction. Clearly girls are more interested in different colored ponies.
Oh, friendship. Yeah. Your soldier toys aren't fighting in Vietnam. They're not fighting in World War II. They're fighting Darth Vader, generic space meat.
Wait a minute. Way worse. Hold on. They're not fighting in Vietnam or World War II. You know, battles where 1 million or 10 million died. They're fighting in intergalactic space battles with way more death and lasers and swords and evil wizards that can choke the life out of you from a distance. The fuck are you talking about? And yeah, of course boys are going to be more interested in this. This is still army men fighting with swords and guns. What are you talking about?
And the evil empire. And these action heroes don't use guns because it would be inappropriate.
They do. Han Solo. You literally had Luke in a gun. Hold on.
Who are fighting in Vietnam, in World War II. They're fighting.
What is that? What is that in Luke's hand? What is that in Luke's hand? Hold on. Enhance. Let's go back again.
World War II. They're fighting.
Hold on. Bang. That's a gun. Oh God.
No.
Space Mimi and the evil empire. And these action heroes don't use guns because it would be inappropriate for kids to play with guns. So they use lasers and lightsabers and magic.
They use lasers, and I love how when you showed laser, you didn't show like the black gun-looking thing that when you press the trigger, a projectile that's a laser comes out. You like had to bring up a way different looking kind of laser where they press, like obviously not gun-looking, but you can't get away from it. Yeah, they fire fucking guns, and you show any kid that's seen a gun and understands what that is, and you show them a lightsaber or a Star Wars blaster, they're gonna go gun. They might go laser gun if they know what lasers are. Come the fuck on.
Except for Harry Potter, this isn't the real world. Voldemort isn't a fascist dictator. He's just a big old meanie who wants to be...
Well, I mean, he's not a fascist dictator because he never gains power. In order to be a dictator or a fascist, you kind of have to be the ruling class capable of clamping down on people's speech and freedoms, but Voldemort fails to take over a school. So,
I mean, it's like it would be like the hardest school to take over. To be fair, though.
No, yeah, I'm. Oh shoot, that's on the screen now. No, I mean, completely understandable. But what I'm saying is like, you can't be a dictator because you're not in control of anything. Like, effectively, you're the leader of a wizard gang, but that's about it. You have agents and spies in the ministry, but like, you're not head of the ministry. You haven't been elected as head of the ministry where the vast amount of people in the wizarding world actually support you and support your regime. You're like a terrorist that everyone hates and doesn't want to speak your name, and you don't end up with any actual power, like in terms of law making. So weird to label you a dictator. I mean, fascist terrorist. Maybe a Antifa you could label him as.
I don't think he's anti-fascist.
Oh, you're underwater, but I mean Antifa aren't anti-fascists, so.
That's the name of their organization, though.
Nah, it's not what they do though. If they were anti-fascist, they wouldn't be fascists themselves. They're just fascistic terrorists. That's all they are. They can call themselves whatever they want. I'm the anti-murder league, but I'm gonna go around and murdering people. But I'm called the anti-murdering league, so you can't get mad.
I'm the anti-defamation league.
There you go.
Immortal and is racist against mostly white wizards who don't have wizards for parents. Harry Potter doesn't.
Are you saying
No.
you should kill the non-white wizards?
Well, yeah, weird that that's what your complaint there. That he's, but no, he's not racist toward wizards who have non-wizard parents. That is included in what he hates. He hates Muggles, like non-wizarding people, all of them. Hates them all. Thinks they should be controlled and or wiped out. And he doesn't. And he has more focus on your bloodline than your actual ability. So it doesn't matter to him if you're a wizard. If you're born from Muggles, you're a Muggle. Because of your blood. Your blood is tainted. You're not a pure blood. I would actually say the closest analogy to Voldemort or just the Death Eater's prejudice is probably racism, because it's focused so heavily on bloodline purity. So yeah, this weird complaint that it's mostly white wizards who don't have wizard parents. No. He hates Muggles, and so he doesn't like Muggle-born wizards. This is very easy to track. And I don't know why you have to bring up that they're mostly white, as if being white means they're not really suffering. Weird.
Punch or shoot guns. He doesn't fight in a controversial war. He uses a wand to fight. It's a traditional good versus evil tale, but in an uncontroversial way that anyone can enjoy. The Death Eaters are fascists.
Uncontroversial way that anyone can enjoy. I guess you just never lived through the part where most parents, or not most, but a bunch of parents didn't allow their kids to engage in Harry Potter at all. Harry Potter was very fucking controversial. There were plenty of parents who were worried that a main character who was falling away from normalcy to fall into a world of wizarding and witchcraft, there were plenty of parents that didn't want their kids to want anything to do with that. And you know what? Seeing how most Harry Potter adults turn out, maybe they were onto something.
Maybe they were right.
Alright, we're gonna give him one last point.
Sure, but in a fun way where having your husband dress as one for your wedding isn't so bad. It's cute. It would be less cute if it were World War II costumes. And Harry Potter...
Yeah, I mean, it would
Hey, you
be...
better talk to the Japanese about that one.
Yeah, and I don't know, of course when things are analogous, or when we represent things that are closer to our actual history, that we know the actual dark depravity and the real pain and depths, of course it's not going to be as fun to see. Also, I don't really think you should be dressing up as a Death Eater for your wedding either. But people do whatever they want, I guess. I don't know, I hate this video. I can't believe we're only halfway through, 20 minutes out of 40 minutes, and it's going to probably take us 4 hours total to get through this. Because this is part 3. So, I think what makes this video so long, and what makes it feel so long, and what makes this response so long, is that these aren't connected ideas. This isn't one connective narrative that is building and introducing different things. They're just bringing up different points, point by point by point by point by point, and you have to stop them, break down why the point they just made was wrong, and then you unpause, and in the next 5 seconds they can make another ridiculous point. And then you have to pause and take their 5 seconds and break it down over 2 minutes, and it's it's what makes this so long. I'm starting to understand, oh my god, we're going to be here for at least another 2 hours getting these last 20 minutes out, because just the ratio of how long it takes to make a retarded point and how long it takes to dismantle it is it's too big. But
The disparity is too big.
But hopefully you guys enjoyed this one. We're getting a little bit more into. I mean, we quickly left the in-universe stuff and went right back to meta, and of course it was as fun as we expected it to be, but I'll be honest, not a whole lot new in this part from the last part in terms of how I feel. Just more confirmation.
Yeah, just equally just as bored. Like, just no good points are being made.
Yeah, I'm not. The only thing I really liked about this part of the video was the article. I liked seeing that little article. It's like a time capsule of what people saw or felt at the time. But yeah, I'll say these last 10 minutes have not been any different to me than the 10 minutes before that. So can't wait to get through the second half of your video where we go even further and see how much of a hypocrite you are. But
I can't wait until we get to the end of the video.
that is true. That'll be my favorite part of the video. But I think that's gonna. I'm moving down our icons right at the last minute when it doesn't matter. I think that's gonna be it for me today. So appreciate you guys watching this far. Another hour in, and Loach, you got anything you want to say before we wave goodbye to the friends?
Yeah, I want to thank you guys for getting to the end of the video. I'm gonna grab me and Cosmos another coffee because we fucking need it. Please like the video. That's gonna be the main thing I want you guys to do.
We'll see you boys next time.
Later.
And I said boys. Yeah, girls, we're not going to see you next time. We won't. You won't be there.
And our gender disparity on this channel is gonna be fucked.
That's right. Yeah, girls are icky and gross. Bye-bye.